We're going to use the blocks to upgrade our sun salutations and activate our deep core of support, which actually runs all the way from the arches of your feet up the inseams of the legs to the pelvic floor, which is continuous with all the lower abdominal fibers as well. So just take one block for this part, and we'll start at the back of our mat, and you'll soon find out why. What we want to do is pop the block right up between the thighs so that you're hugging with muscular energy in against the block. And as you hug in against the block, really affirm your feet, your roots down into the earth. Hugging in, you might start to feel that lift and activation, which runs all the way from the arches of the feet right up the deep core. And notice here how that feels activating the adductors, the inner thigh muscles. Balancing the pelvic bowl, start to just lengthen the tailbone towards the block, and then observe how you feel through your spine. I feel really light and supported here in the spine because of this activation from further down. What we're going to begin to do is take our hands right onto the tops of the thighs. We're going to really map out this clear hip hinging action. So it's right at this hip fold. We want to send the hips back. So notice I'm bending at the knees and I'm keeping my spine really long, and then hinging to rise up, squeezing the block and lengthening the tailbone. So from there, we'll take the hands in behind, we'll interlock the fingers, bringing the thumbs onto the back of the pelvis. Keep the elbows bent and then hug the elbows in towards each other so you get the added bonus of the chest opening. And with the thumbs, I'm drawing down, so I really keep that pelvic stability and really isolate this hip hinging into the hip joints. So what I'm going to do from here is keep the back of the pelvis drawing down as I hinge at the hips. So this is helping me keep my lower abdominals on. It's also stretching through the low back, and then I hinge to rise up. So I keep my spine long, I just hinge at the hips and rise up. So this is like your good mornings, activating the posterior chain, so hinging and rising and engaging the glutes at the top. So hinging, rising, really good way to start to build some strength in the hamstrings in their long position. So don't forget, you want to bend in the knees as you really send the hips back. It's not about trying to do this with straight legs. And I'm keeping the back of my pelvis long. Awesome. We'll do one more hinge there. We'll release the hands and we're going to walk out into our downward facing dog. Same action on the legs. I'm hugging in against the block and I'm really trying to find this length through my waist. So in that space between the rib cage and the pelvis, I want to be really long there. And feeling the abdominal wall, I'm not doing anything, but the abdominal wall is drawing up towards the spine from the action of my legs. Now I'm going to keep that hugging in as I travel forward into the high plank position. I'm hugging the block and lengthening the tailbone, which keeps the lower belly active and supported. Shoulder blades are right on the back ribs and the neck is long. My gaze is just forward a little bit. And then I'll take it up and back into the down dog, pressing through the base of my fingers. Take a full expansive breath in to fill the ribs, stabilizing the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, strongly extend through the arms and the legs simultaneously. We'll come forward again into the high plank. Same work on the legs, same work on the pelvis, finding the shoulder blades on those back ribs. This time, try to drag your feet towards your hands and the hands towards the feet. So that isometric engagement, which turns on the whole front body. You're welcome. And downward facing dog. So I hope already you're feeling more active here and you're using your legs and deep core as support, not just hanging out on those shoulders. So again, we'll come forward, all of that same work, get that drag. You can lower the knees to the floor. This bit is a little bit tricky with the block, but you'll be okay. Bend the elbows slowly. Let the block slide through the legs a little bit. Tops of the feet press. Now hug in against the block. Draw the shoulder heads back. Lengthen the tailbone. It's only going to be a little lift there. Now to come back, we've got to grip that block so we don't lose it. Hug in, and we'll come back into the downward facing dog. From here, we're going to push through our hands to walk little steps. Keep the arms straight and strong, pushing through the floor with each step that you take until you end up in Uttanasana, your forward fold at the back of the mat. Anchor down through the feet to inhale, reach and rise strong all the way up. And hands through to heart center. So we'll flow through that again. Interlock the fingers behind. Roll the shoulder heads back. So that's the position that you want in your cobra. Keeping the back of the pelvis drawing long, hinge and rise. Good, hinge, send the hips back and rise. Hinge to rise. This time we'll hinge. We'll bring the hands to the floor. We'll walk it out into the downward facing dog. Smooth breath in, filling the rib cage. And as you exhale, strongly extend through the arms and the legs at the same time. We'll inhale, come forward to the high plank, dragging feet towards hands, hands towards the feet. You can use knees or no knees. Keep hugging the thighs to lower. Cobra, pressing the tops of the feet. And then as you exhale, hug the block, high plank to down dog. Then we'll walk, pushing through the hands all the way to the back of the mat. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Anchor to reach and rise to the top. Hands through to heart center. Now we'll take the block out. We'll come up to the top of our mat, and I want you to take one more sun salutation with that memory of the block there. So we've been standing in Tadasana. I'm sure you're probably still feeling that feedback from the block. So create all of that activation with a little more ease. From here, we'll take our arms up and we'll hinge at the hips just like we did before, imaginary block there. We'll step back into the down dog. Coming forward into the high plank, imagine that that block is still there. Control the lower, imagine the block is still there. Cobra, imagining the block is still there. Tuck the toes, high plank to down dog. Pressing through the base of the fingers, imagine that block in between the thighs. You could step or you could pounce. Anchor to rise. Hands through to heart center. So that's a really good way to get that deep core activation and a great memory to have from here forward into your practice. I like to come back to this time and time again because so often our attention goes to the areas where there's a lot of strength and support required, and we forget about our body essentially being a self-tensioning device. So if we create a more integrated overall tension, then it actually helps out, say, the shoulders when you're lowering through chaturanga. So I hope you have fun, and I look forward to sharing more ways in which you can use the YogaTribe blocks in practice. Namaste.